There's a silencing of black voices in America, especially black men in power, and their fear to speak up. This is Edie Mondonay, and I want to talk about it. There's a cost of speaking truth in America. Americans today are more afraid than ever to speak their minds for fear of rejection, social consequences, and cancel culture have driven many into self-censorship. Did you know that 2/3 of Americans say that they're afraid to share their true beliefs publicly? And for black men of power, the stakes are even higher. Historically, black leaders who have spoken out against injustice have faced assassination, imprisonment, defamation, and political sabotage. Now, this isn't just an imagined fear. It's deeply embedded in our history, a survival instinct that is honed in us from centuries of oppression. In the past, speaking up led to physical death. Today, it leads to social death, economic exclusion, and character assassination. Black men in positions of influence, we've got to weigh every word, knowing that the consequences of truth can be swift and unforgiving. There's a long history of silencing black leaders. Oh, yes, there is. Throughout history, black men who dared to challenge injustice, they paid steep prices. Look at Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., labeled a radical, targeted by the FBI, and ultimately assassinated for his insistence on dismantling racism and economic oppression. Malcolm X was demonized as a militant extremist, abandoned by many allies, and ultimately gunned down for exposing systemic racism and advocating for black self-determination. Can't forget Medgar Evers, murdered in his driveway, all for organizing against segregation. The greatest, Muhammad Ali, was stripped of his boxing title and vilified for refusing to fight in the Vietnam War. Moving into this era, Colin Kaepernick lost his NFL career for peacefully kneeling in protest of police brutality. Looking at Brandon Johnson, the newly elected mayor of Chicago, faces relentless scrutiny and resistance simply for being a progressive black leader. Jemele Hill, a journalist who calls out racism, was pushed out of the mainstream sports media for speaking uncomfortable truths. The message has been clear, especially for black men who disrupt the status quo. They will face retaliation. Today, the tactics have evolved. Instead of outright assassination, there is a character assassination. Instead of physical exile, there is a digital exile. Cancel culture has become a modern form of public execution. The Gilded Age, the new age of social exile. Wow. Studies show that self-censorship is increasing with a 6.5 rise in just 20 years. People are afraid to say what they're truly believing because they fear backlash, job loss, or social isolation. This phenomenon is even more pronounced for black men in leadership who are expected to be inspirational, yet non-threatening, assertive, yet compliant. Any deviation from this tightrope can be fatal to their careers, their families, and their reputation. Black men who speak out are often labeled as angry, divisive, or ungrateful. Their words are twisted, their pasts are scrutinized, and their careers are jeopardized. The fear of rejection is real, people, and it's compounded by systemic racism that already limits opportunities and mobility. The modern consequences for black men who speak up, well, professional retaliation, losing job opportunities, endorsements where they are, or contracts where they might be. The character assassination comes through media framing. It frames them as dangerous, irrational, or unpatriotic. And then there's a social exile piece, ghosting, canceling, and exclusion from influential circles. All across America, school boards are silencing lessons on race, DEI offices are being dismantled, and laws are being passed to suppress the vote. It's real. This isn't coincidence. It's a coordinated thing. Why does this matter now? In a time when democracy is under attack, when voters' rights are being stripped, when economic disparity is widening, we need Black voices more than ever. We cannot afford to let fear silence those who have the courage to challenge oppression. If we allow intimidation to dictate public discourse, we risk losing the ability to share difficult truths and engage in meaningful conversations and drive real societal progress. Oh, but there is a solution. We can prioritize open, fact-based discussions where dissent is respected and not punished, reject attacks, and debate ideas instead of demonizing the individuals that bring them. Listen to understand rather than to react in outrage. Protect and uplift voices everywhere you can, especially those that challenge power structures. To our white allies, especially men of privilege, you must remove yourself from passive agreement to public action. This moment demands more than silent support. It requires bold solidarity. Speak up in rooms where we are not present. Challenge injustice where it festers at the dinner tables where you sit, on corporate boards, in city halls. Be willing to risk your comfort to protect our right to exist with dignity and speak with truth. Allyship is not charity, my beloved. It is a shared responsibility. And to the women, Black and white, who have historically held movements like this together, now is the time to stand fiercely alongside your brothers. The Black community at large must be ready to shield and protect its most precious and targeted resource, the Black man that dares to speak. We need your strength, your covering, your voices. Come on into the fight. We must speak no matter what the cost. The fear is real, but so is the responsibility. We must resist the urge to self-censor and instead demand the space to speak truth without fear or exile. We must protect those who dare to challenge injustice, ensuring that history does not repeat itself in silencing the voices that can lead us forward. Black men in power must not only be allowed to speak, they've got to be heard. We must speak up regardless of the cost, my brothers. Freedom comes with sacrifice. We are all in a state of hardship, and our democracy is being eroded right before our eyes. White allies, especially white men of privilege, you've got to stand in solidarity and show up your Black brethren, amplifying our voices rather than muting them. It's time to shift the narrative from death to life, from silencing to liberation. We are the unsettling force, the one that Dr. King envisioned, the prophetic movement rising in this pivotal moment. The fire is in our bones. The streets are still our holy ground, and the movement is not dead. It's waking up. We are the heirs of prophets, preachers, truth tellers, and freedom singers, and the time is now to speak up right now, not wait till later. What will you do? Will you whisper? Or will you roar?